What is up, ladies and gentlemen of M Cubed and YouTube as a whole? I'm Schmook. Welcome. Now, I think either this light bulb's about to die out or the power's being a little goofy right now. So stay with me. If it so happens to turn off, I'm going to turn off this lamp that's right behind me. But until that potentially happens, let's talk some comic books. Because, of course, this is Comic Book Weekly, or Comic Adaptations Weekly. Love that new intro. Big fan, Harris. Good shit. Good shit. Yeah, so we've had a lot. And I'm still not feeling the best. If you saw my G3 episode or my NFL picks, a lot of our friends just like had like a super high fever. Had a slight one earlier, but I want to get through this with y'all. And yeah, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot. So since our last meeting, our last convo, I believe the strike is over. Well, I know it's over now, but I don't remember if it was done at the point we talked last week or not. But regardless, it's done, so I'm happy about that. Where we finally are having stuff move. Where we have a lot of new release dates. So we're gonna talk some news first, and we're gonna go into the Loki finale and a little bit on the Marvels. Um, yeah, because again, I might give it another week so more people have a chance to see it if they want to see it before I get too spoilery about it potentially. But we'll see. Up to y'all. Up to y'all. Anyway, so when it comes to news, a few big things. One, we had Deadpool get a release date in July, so it's only getting pushed. It's only getting delayed 2 months, which isn't terrible. Also, what's up, Sci-Fi? It's good to have you here as always. Um, so yeah, I mean, yeah, 2 months sucks, but at least we're getting it next year, right? Because now we're not getting Captain America: Brave New World, we're not getting Thunderbolts, and we're not getting Blade until 2025, which is unfortunate, but that's what it is. I guess we had a new Invincible episode. I have not watched that yet. Unfortunately, I've been had a little bit of a busy weekend, but I'm gonna try to watch that tomorrow. So hopefully, I should be able to. I'll probably talk to episode 2 and 3 on next week's episode, just so you guys know. Um, so that happened with the delays. I know there was something else big. Oh, right, big news that dropped today, even. So it appears that they are fully preparing to shift off of Kang within the MCU. So this news dropped earlier. So it appears that apparently Jeff Loveness was supposedly let go due to them potentially not having the next Avengers movie being the Kang Dynasty anymore, which is, it sucks because I really like the idea of Kang being a multiversal villain. I think it would have been really awesome for an Avengers movie, but I understand the whole predicament with Jonathan Majors. But I mean, again, I think you can easily just recast him. I would. That's what I would do. I don't think it would be that hard of a situation to do. Excuse me. Anyway, but of course, it's looking like they're probably just going to shift towards Doctor Doom, and that's cool. That's cool. They'll probably do like a Doom slash Galactus scenario. I could see it being like the end of the Fantastic Four movie is what leads into what's happening with Secret Wars. Was gonna be like very multiversal, but then you're gonna have Galactus slash Doom be involved. So I think the next Avengers movie is just gonna be Secret Wars, or they might do Doom War or something, and then go into like Avengers Battle World or whatever. But they're gonna call one of these movies Secret Wars. Like there's no doubt in my mind. Um, but with Kang Dynasty being gone, we don't know if they're just going to do one Avengers movie or are they going to do two. I'm sure they'll do two because I think there's a lot of content like Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame that needed to be two movies. I see this whole multiversal saga ending with a 2 or even 3 movie thing, right? That's my thought process. So I don't see how they're just going to do a Secret Wars movie that's maybe what 3.5 hours long, and that's it. And then we get into this boom, this reboot, all new, all different Marvel. Okay, so Waldron is writing both. I didn't see that. Thanks for that heads up, Harris. I really like Waldron's work, so that's actually, whew, that's a lot off my mind because again, I think he's great. I think they're also the guys who were directing Loki are very intrigued with directing Secret Wars. Apparently, they also announced that Secret Wars has a director in the seat. Like it's been, he's been hired, or her, whoever is doing it. Yeah, no, agreed, Harris. I think Waldron's the man. I really do. Like, say what you will about what was it, Multiverse of Madness. I personally really love Multiverse of Madness, so I want him to handle anything that involves the multiversal, the multiversal side of things. Um, but but definitely AMS. It sucks that we have to wait a lot longer for these movies, especially Blade. But again, we know Blade was having a lot of issues too. And yeah, Harris, I mean, I agree. I love Multiverse of Madness. People really don't like that movie, and I think it's honestly in the top echelon of the MCU. I don't think it's better than like Winter Soldier, Civil War, uh, any of the Avengers movies. Maybe it's better than Ultron, but I really like Age of Ultron too. I think that movie gets a lot more hate than it deserves because I think that's the only movie where it's like fully them as a full team, even though you get a little bit of a hint of Civil War to come in that. But that's where it's like, okay, but you had the first movie of them leading into being this team, but this is the first one where it's like all of them, they have the chemistry, they're just going to save the world, and that's what I love about that movie. It's fun, because like that's the only Avengers movie where they're fully a team the whole way. I love that. But yeah, Blade. We know that's been having issues, but apparently it might be rated R. We'll see. I'm hoping it is. Let's see. What are you saying there, Harris? Yeah. No, I agree. I think it was just a good launching point. Because No Way Home did a little bit of like touching on the multiversal stuff, which was great. But with Multiverse of Madness, you finally see them like go from different to different multiverses, right? So it's them just dipping their toes into it for whenever we get to Deadpool 3 and beyond. It's gonna get crazy, crazy. But yeah, so we have, it's supposed to be Captain America, Thunderbolts, and Blade for 2025. I would kind of assume they should get that ball rolling on Spider-Man 4 by then, maybe. But that could be a scenario. I'd say no matter what, whatever the next Spider-Man movie is going to come out in 2026. I can see how I think Armor Wars got a release date for 2026. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I saw that earlier today. And then I would assume that's a movie that comes out, Spider-Man, and then either probably Doctor Strange 3 or Shang-Chi 2 are what are going to come out in 2026. And then 2027, I bet will be probably Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four could come out in 2026, but that's what I'm guessing based on what's been going on. Maybe Fantastic Four takes the Shang-Chi release date in 2026, and then 2027, I believe, would be no matter what a Doctor Strange 3 and Shang-Chi 2. I think no matter what those come out within those years, or Doctor Strange 3, if I said Doctor Strange 2. And then I would assume that we were going to get this Avengers movie in 2027, but it might be 2028, which sucks. It's 5 years away. Like we were supposed to get these movies in like a year, right? I'm trying to remember when these were announced, but I'm pretty sure they were supposed to come out like 2024, 2025, and now it's a long wait, which sucks. But you know, it is what it is. I think that might be it, unless you guys have anything to add. When it comes to the news, because I think that's all I really saw. That was specifically MCU news. I guess when it comes to DCU news, the Superman Legacy is keeping that July 11th, 2025 date. So 2025 is going to be a fun year. I think it's going to be a really cool year. You're going to get all these MCU projects where it's definitely them like shifting gears a bit from Kang and definitely shifting gears in general because of course, Captain America is getting delayed heavily. So they're doing a lot of reshoots. So it could become more of a multiversal type of movie, which I think would be sick. And I think they were going to have some stuff to do with the Middle East, but due to current tensions over there, as well as potentially the Superman movie having to deal with those issues as well, they might just be shifting gears altogether around that. So I can see that happening where they might be like, okay, this is where we're gonna have all these Avengers, and or it's gonna be Sam Wilson assembling Avengers most of the movie, and then potentially multiversal shit happens, which I think would be cool. Where it could potentially turn into one where we get Red Hulk. Excuse me. We have Red Hulk come into play, and as well as potentially Earth 838's Illuminati coming to kick some ass. Maybe. But we'll see. I have no idea what their plans are currently because I don't work there. But they're definitely shifting gears quite a bit. I had a much better, clearer idea until all this news just dropped because now we don't have Kang. That's crazy though. Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars were originally both supposed to come out next year. That's crazy. Imagine that they had some balls on them to assume that they were gonna have two Avengers movie come out in 1 year. Crazy. But I mean, again, there was a lot of delays that happened, and it was just never gonna happen. It sucks. And so, okay, we can go into that. Okay. Yes, saw the Marvels. I liked it. Oh, I like what you said, sci-fi. I agree. I think a Marvel DC crossover movie could potentially happen in the near future due to James Gunn running the show over there. That'll make a ton of money. That could be a quick little one-off before they reboot everything. I would love to see that, but we'll see. But yeah, the Marvels. We'll talk about that for a little bit, yeah, because I think I might go into it a little bit more next week potentially when there's more of more time in between the release. Because I mean, with Loki, if you were watching Loki, you were watching it, right? Like you should have watched that by now. I understand not going to the movies right away, but overall, I thought it was good. It's not in my top tier MCU, but I think I liked it more than the first one. I just rewatched the first one today, even. And the first one is not as bad as I remembered it being because I only saw it the one time in theaters, Captain Marvel, and I was just like, I just do not enjoy that movie. But I watched it today because me and my girlfriend are going timeline order of watching everything, which I'm excited about. Because I mean, there's a lot of news, and I think it's gonna be sick to watch all these in order, and then watch like all the X-Men, like the Fox Universe stuff, and then all the Spider-Man stuff before Deadpool comes out, and then of course before Secret Wars comes out. So we have a lot of time. Yes, and I agree, Harris. Maybe a DC Elseworlds Marvel Spotlight crossover. I think that'd be cool, where you just have like completely different casted people, a different multiverse thing, and it just could be one fun one-off movie. I think that'd be sick. I think that'd be really sick. Hold on. So yes, the Marvelous failure that is the Marvels. It's definitely the highest grossing, or the lowest grossing, excuse me, opening weekend box office for any MCU movie. Even lower than the Incredible Hulk, which did have that record beforehand, and which is fine because that was a movie that came out a while ago, and it literally just followed Iron Man. So but this is a movie where it's like you've had all these movies come before. We know who Captain Marvel is, who's coming off of one. She's in Avengers Endgame, which is the second highest grossing movie of all time. It will eventually be the number one grossing movie of all time again whenever they decide to re-release that in theaters, because they will do that before Secret Wars, whatever the next Avengers movie is, and then that'll probably be beat by whatever Avengers movie is coming out next. But she was in that, and then she was in Captain Marvel, which is a $1 billion movie. But I do think a lot of it has to do with just the time that it came out, because one, it came out right before Endgame, so the hype was unreal. First MCU female superhero having her own movie, so it had a lot of different factors, you know. No, I'm with you, Harris. I mean, I love Avatar. I think Avatar is one of my favorite franchises. I want all those movies ASAP. But again, I love Avengers, you know, so I don't really care that much. Again, it's just money into rich people's pockets to make them a little bit richer. So it's like whatever. But the Marvels. So some highlights. I thought it was fun. There's definitely some cringy stuff within it. Like I know there's this whole musical sequence within it, which I did not enjoy. I think the villain was a little lackluster. I don't think she was as bad as people are saying, but she's not great. She's kind of just like a Ronin 2.0. But overall, I think it was just fun. Some of the pacing was a little off, and the editing wasn't great, but like overall, I think the chemistry between the cast was miraculous. I think Iman is incredible as Kamala Khan. I thought I liked Monica a lot more in this movie than I did in WandaVision, so I look forward to seeing where her character goes in the future, especially based on that post-credit scene. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it, but pretty sick, pretty sick. If you've seen it, you know, you know. And yes, I'm with you, sci-fi. Biggest highlight: Brie is very attractive in this movie. Like she is ridiculous. Always been a fan of Brie Larson. She's nice. She's nice to look at. But again, like just the chemistry between the three was really good. You can tell that they all had a blast filming this movie together. I don't. So it makes me not believe in that. I can't remember Monica's actress's name, but I know. Apparently, there was that rumor or whatever that her and Brie did not have a good time on set. But I don't know if I believe that. Yeah, Tiana. Okay. Well, I heard they didn't have a good time on set. She didn't even need a butt double this time around. Of course not. She's been working on that butt. I understand that sci-fi. But yeah, I think they all did well together. Again, I agree. I think the writing was pretty decent at times. I think the writing overall in the first movie was a lot worse. So I think I would put this above the first movie for sure. And I put it over a lot of the other recent stuff. I'd probably put it over the Eternals, even though I actually really enjoy the Eternals. But I still think it's an overall better film and more fun. It's definitely just a fun movie. Eternals, I didn't find to have that much fun with it, even though I thought it was a pretty good movie in my mind. Where this, it's like I don't think it's the best movie. I had fun. I had fun. This is definitely more of like this is a movie you want to go to the movies to see because it's just like it's good. It's a good movie just to shut off that brain a little bit, and just watch some awesome action because this movie had awesome action in it. Big fan. And again, I just know with that after credit scene and then the very last scene of the movie, it's setting up some big things. I don't know if they're going to continue off that last scene really that much for the future of the MCU because I think now they're going to shift gears away from that, involving a specific cameo at the end of the movie itself. I'm not talking about the post-credit scene and what that's leading into. I just don't know if they're going to do that because based on how this movie's going to perform, I don't think anyone's going to give a damn about that movie. I hate to say because also no one really watched. I don't think that show. If you know, if you saw the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I don't think anyone is willing or is wanting to see that movie. You know, maybe I'll just quick spoiler alert. All right, I'll give you 5 seconds. All right, and then we can skip ahead. I'm just going to talk about for like a minute. So, the end of the movie. You have what's her fucking name? Hawkeye, the new Hawkeye. I don't know why I'm blanking on her name. Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop. You have her at the end of the movie, and you have, of course, Ms. Marvel trying to recruit her for a team. She's having this whole Nick Fury-esque moment where she's in the shadows, blah blah blah, and it's cool. And it's like she's going to be this Nick Fury for a young Avengers, which is cool. And then she mentions Cassie Lang, and like I'm for it, but again, like I don't think a lot of people watched Hawkeye. No one, I don't think people. I know Miss Marvel did decently well viewership wise, but this movie's not making much money. And then Quantumania definitely flopped, and I just don't see how a Young Avengers movie is gonna be that appealing, especially if it's Kate Bishop, Cassie Lang. My God, Miss Marvel, and of course probably Ironheart. I would guess, maybe Billy, and I don't know. I can't remember one of his other kid's name. My bad. But if that's what the Young Avengers is, I would hope that's just like a not a Marvel spotlight per se, but like just a quick little special, a special presentation that they put on Disney Plus, because that's something they should not put in theaters. That's gonna make no money. I think it would work better as a TV series, like a quick 6 episode run, maybe, or again a special presentation. Also, I think I like the idea of Scar being in there too. But I think it would work as a Marvel spotlight. Like it can be connected to everything, but also be in its own realm of things. But I just don't see this being something that people would run to the theaters for outside of it saying Avengers in it, right? But like people don't give enough of a shit about these characters. I don't think they've done enough to make people really care about them. So that's something they should probably stay away from. And then again, we have the after credits scene. We'll talk about this, and then we're gonna move on to Loki. So again, more spoilers. You have Monica in basically the X Mansion being treated on by Beast, which is cool. You also have Maria Rambeau, also known as Binary. Yeah, that's right, Binary. So I was blanking on what she's called, but as Binary, which is cool. And I'm curious how they continue that. I'm curious which universe she's actually in. But it's awesome to have Kelsey Grammer back as Beast. Love it. But who knows which universe she's in? I think it'd be cool if she's in Deadpool 3. We can build off of like where she's at, how she's gonna come back, blah blah blah. So I'm intrigued to see where they go. And it's always awesome to get the X-Men inside of an MCU movie. You know, like that's why Multiverse of Madness kicks so much ass. And then this definitely, to me, the work off what you just said, Harris. This to me is definitely, this is definitely a different universe. I don't think it's Earth 838 because one, she's binary now and not Captain Marvel, which is different. I also really think that she's dead in the 838 universe. I think Wanda did in fact kill her. So I think it's a completely different character who's just a part of the X-Men universe. So we'll see where they go with it. Loki, a little segue into Loki finale, may have answered some questions, but also it might not have answered enough questions as well to where the future of the MCU is heading. So we'll talk about Loki, and then I got to go. So Loki. I think this episode was in fact my favorite Disney Plus episode, at least in the MCU side of things. This definitely rounded out where Loki is my favorite show on Disney Plus as a whole. No doubt in my mind. Tom Hiddleston is a masterclass actor, and him as Loki is going to go down as being just as iconic as Tony Stark's Iron Man for all those who watch this show. Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Tony Stark, Rocket, and then let's say Peter Parker. I think these characters have some of the best development that we have ever seen with a fictional superhero, like through film. I love what they did with every single one of these characters in the MCU. I'd probably throw Captain America in there as well, Steve Rogers. I think these are the characters that easily have had the best character development overall. And I just watched the first Iron Man as well, where it's like you see where Tony started off then, and then you see where he ends up in Endgame. It's drastically different, where he's the one who would land on the grenade. And then I watched Captain America: The First Avenger last night, and it's like, oh, Steve was just the guy, he's the man. And you see that with Endgame, where he's able to pick up Mjolnir, right? But he's still the one he was the one to land the grenade, and then at the end of Endgame, he decides to be selfish for once in his life. Because he's able to time travel, he's going to be with the woman he loves. And so it's great. I think this is beautiful character development for those characters. And then you get Peter Parker, where he's just some naive kid who was helping out Iron Man to fight Captain America, right? And then in No Way Home, he, again, as a naive kid, where even Doctor Strange is like, after all we've been through, I forget, you're just a kid. And he lays down his entire life where no one will know who he is just to save the multiverse. It's sick. And then, of course, Rocket, I think, was great because he always seemed like a little bit more of a side character, was still the best friend of Peter Quill. Just seeing how where he was, like seeing his origin in Guardians 3 and seeing where he is now leading the Guardians of the Galaxy is awesome to me. I love it. And then there's Loki, where he was the god of mischief, and he starts off with wanting the throne more than anything, even like betraying his brother and his father, and then fighting the Avengers on Earth, to being the least selfish person and not wanting the throne, but he ends up being on the throne to connect all the multiverse from collapsing, where he becomes the god of stories instead. And that's miraculous to me. Instead of being ego driven and his quest for power, he has to be selfless instead of selfish and sacrifice all that he loves by not being able to see his friends anymore to make sure they can go on living life and be the one who connects it all together. And that's why Loki, I think, is phenomenal. He might be my favorite character now because based on him being the first Avengers villain, he is now probably the ultimate hero of the multiverse, which is sick. And yes, sci-fi. I did, in fact, see that Collider list. Truly the most baffling thing I've ever seen in my life. They put Love and Thunder at like rank 17, and they put Avengers Infinity War at 18. So you're telling me Infinity War? Yeah, pull it up if you'd like, Harris. We can go through it. But I just know when I saw that, I'm like, this list has absolutely no meaning. So basically, I'll just say for Loki before we can get into this, and then I gotta head out. But so once we're done with Loki, I'm so down to go through this list. So ultimately, was a big fan of how Loki ended that series. I felt like a part 1, part 2, and it seemed like that chapter is closed, and we might be done with Loki at least until Secret Wars. And we'll see what happens after that. I don't think this is the last we've seen Tom Hiddleston as Loki. I think we'll see him one more time for at least a reunion with Thor. I think that needs to be done. And I love that he is now Yggdrasil, the world tree that binds everything together. Love that you said that, sci-fi. But yeah, it's just awesome. And like just the performances all around. I love the final goodbye with Mobius, where it's like it's from their first meeting to their final goodbye. The only thing I disliked about season 2 overall was that it felt like Sylvie was a lot more in the back seat. But I did love her in this episode because I like how she's like, well, it's either kill me and I don't have my free will because you're taking my life, or we save he remains and all free will is gone. So it's like Loki had to make that ultimate decision to be completely selfless and sacrifice his life basically to make sure all the multiverse is free. And I love it. So yeah, overall, I think season 2 was amazing. I think Loki's I think it's the best overall show on Disney Plus. You can argue Andor, but this is definitely Marvel's Andor, which is it's just like a step above and beyond everything else that they're making in terms of like writing being better, special effects being better. Where this is like a full-on movie on TV, which I love seeing. So yeah, guys, I hope we all enjoyed Loki. It was beautiful. It was truly a chef's kiss. But yeah, let's pull up that Collider list, and then I gotta head out of here. But this will be fun. Yeah, and I think so too, Harris. I think calling it Marvel's Andor, it's like it just seems a bit a step above and beyond everything else that they've been making, in my opinion. Like I thought Moon Knight was really good and close to being that until the finale, which is ass. Miss Marvel was solid, but I think after the first few episodes, I think it lost its way a little bit. It still looked visually cool, but I don't think the writing was all there. Secret Invasion is just not good at all. WandaVision had potential, but I still did not love that finale. Same with, and then I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier had a great start, but I think it ended kind of poorly. I think the last episode was good though, but yeah. Yeah, so yeah, Tom Hiddleston did say he is in fact done, but he said it like 2 other times in the past, and that's just what Marvel does. Like Loki will never be gone. That's just how it is. But yeah, he's definitely just gonna want to get more money because now it's like, oh, people adore his character. He's one of the most important figures within the entire MCU now. So yeah, I think it could be Andrew Garfielding us for sure. All right, Harris, if you're able to somehow pull up this list, I'm excited. Let's do this. Let's do this. All right. Off to a good start. Okay, Iron Man 2 being the bottom of the list. And I would love to do my own list for you guys at some point. But Iron Man 2 is definitely towards the bottom. But I mean, you're going to tell me it's worse than, let's say, Thor Love and Thunder? No. Is it worse than Thor the Dark World? I personally don't think so. I actually find enjoyment with Iron Man 2. I think it has some of the best action sequences in the MCU with Rhodey and Iron Man. I think it's awesome. Sure, the writing's not all there, but all right. So let's see what's next. Thor: The Dark World. I mean, yeah, I think it's towards the bottom of the list, but again, I think Thor: Love and Thunder is worst. But yeah, okay. Basically, I'll say basically all these movies are gonna end up being worse, and I think the Incredible Hulk. I think it's good. I think the only reason people shit on it is because it's not Ruffalo. I think it's a really good movie. I think the action's sick. You actually see some legit Hulk action. Abomination's cool. I just think it's a solid flick. I really I don't have any distaste for this one. I think Iron Man 2 and The Incredible Hulk are actually quite underrated. I think Incredible Hulk is actually miles better than Iron Man 2 even. So I would definitely have this higher. All right, let's see what else. Let's keep going. Doctor Strange is criminally low. I think Doctor Strange is one of the better origin movies within the MCU. I think from a visual standpoint, it's miraculous, and sci-fi. It is officially MCU, the Incredible Hulk, because you still have Thunderbolt Ross and Betty, and you have Tony at the end of it. It's just the only difference really is that one, now they're going to have Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt because of the death of shit. I can't I'm blanking on his name, but again, he was playing Thaddeus Ross for this whole time. Um, but yeah, it's only because it's not Ruffalo. It's canon. It's definitely canon to the 616 universe, even though I see it as 819999. But Doctor Strange, criminally low, like ridiculously low. Like has some of the best visuals. The only weak part are the villains, but otherwise, it's a great movie. Let's see. All right, and I think Multiverse of Madness is miles better than Doctor Strange, the first one. I think visually the first one's better, and it's a solid origin story. But this movie had the villain was perfect, who was Wanda, right? And I just think overall what it means for the future of the MCU, dope. Had some awesome visuals at times, like the fight between Doctor Strange and evil Doctor Strange. This movie's awesome. I would not have it this low. All right, let's see what's next. Ah, man, this is just a rough list. I just, oh yeah, oh I agree. Like Quantumania and Lemon Thunder are easily two of the worst. Those are actually my two least favorites of the entire MCU, and I cannot believe it's over both Doctor Strange movies. Even to say that they are better than the first Ant-Man. The first Ant-Man I think is so good. I love the first Ant-Man. Like I think it has some of the best like pure writing within the MCU. Like just a fun movie. You know, I love when the MCU is smaller, not so connected, but it's connected because you have Sam in there, right? But it's like, it sucks that it should not be this low. Because anytime I rewatch this movie, I have a blast. I love this movie. All right, let's see what's next. But this is really an atrocious list. I cannot believe they were able to have print this. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Okay, well, here's the thing. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp is actually definitely towards the bottom of the MCU. I still have fun with it. It's definitely better than Thor: Love and Thunder and Ant-Man 3. I'll tell you what. To have it higher than the first Ant-Man, I believe, is absolutely criminal. I think the villain's worse. I think the special effects are worse. Just the writing overall is worse. Story's worse. I mean, you get some sick action with Evangeline Lilly as Wasp, who I really love. But yeah, it's not one of the best. Let's see. And then you have 3 Ant-Man in a row, huh? Yeah. So that's the problem. This should be below all of them. I think the first Ant-Man should easily be like maybe at least 10 spots up, but whatever. I just don't like this movie. I tried falling asleep to it last night. Also, I think my phone might die here soon. So let's go through this list a little faster. My bad, guys. Let's see, the Marvels. I mean, I'd say it's towards the lower half, but I don't think it's this low, especially below Love and Thunder. No, it's a good movie. I don't think it's bad at all. Yeah. Black Widow, yeah, I think it's definitely towards the bottom half. I think it has some good chemistry between the cast, but I just don't think the movie's overall that good. I think the villain's weak. You turn one of the coolest villains in all of Marvel into, honestly, just Taskmaster kind of sucks in this movie. Design's not great. At times it looks cool, but I just don't love it. Not a great movie. It's not terrible, though, either, but it's definitely towards the bottom half. This is a criminally low one. Criminally low. Shang-Chi is probably a top 10 in my ranking. So I think with doing this, I'm totally for potentially doing my own ranking. I might do that next week. Maybe I'll make my own MCU ranking. Yeah. But yeah, this is Criminally Low. I love this movie. I think the action's sweet. I love the main lead. The villain's great. Yeah. That's ridiculous. I love Shang-Chi. It's also visually stunning in a lot of the movie. Eternals, I think Eternals is definitely under Shang-Chi. I do like it though. I think it's one of the most visually appealing movies within the entire MCU. That's for sure. Love the cast, but it's just there's something about it. I think the writing's just a little iffy, but it has some dope stuff. I love seeing the Celestials within this movie, especially the end scene where I'm like, dude, that's nuts. Right, let's keep going. But love Kit Harington. Love Kit Harington. I really hope he's in the Blade movie, or at least in the after credit scene of that, where it leads into Midnight Suns. Thor, the first Thor, yeah, Thor's lower half, but I definitely really enjoy the first movie. I think it's the best out of the entire trilogy, in my opinion. Yeah, I saw that Eternals 2 is rumored to be in production, which makes sense. The official Schmook list, yeah. Oh, I think people would like my list compared to this Collider list. Come on. And I'm rewatching all of them right now, so who knows where I'm at in my entire rewatch. So it might help my noggin. Maybe I'll wait till I'm done with my rewatch. But yeah, I'll definitely do a list for sure. And I'll hype it up like a few days before also. Captain Marvel, I think I'll take the first Thor over it. I'll take Shang-Chi over it. I'll take Multiverse of Madness, first Doctor Strange, first Ant-Man. Take a lot of these movies that they put on this list ahead of this movie. But I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's terrible. I think there's only like truly like 2 or 3 terrible MCU movies in the MCU. I don't think it's terrible. Just not great. So yeah, let's keep going. This movie's pretty fresh though, off the noggin, but I just think the overall villain was weak and a little bit of a bait and switch with the scrolls. Far From Home, Criminally Low. I think this is one of the most shit on Spider-Man movies there is. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is masterful in this movie. It sets up No Way Home in a great way. I love just the vacation aspect of it. You know, like a European vacation with Spider-Man. Love the idea. Yeah, let's keep going. I just think that's Criminally Low too. I love all the Spider-Man movies. Now this is truly the worst thing about this list. I don't know who the fuck wrote this list. I know it's Collider, but I don't know who personally did it. Infinity War being 18, right? It says 18. It feels like a crime. It's easily a top 3. Like I'm okay with people not saying it's the best, but like Infinity War being at 18 just feels like an absolute crime. Let's see who's saying that, Harris. If you can put it in the chat whenever you're done scrolling back down. But I know what comes after Infinity War on this list, and I'm just like, who in their right fucking mind thinks that Thor: Love and Thunder is better than Avengers: Infinity War? You are in the 0.0001% of the world if you think that. There's no way. I can go to almost any person on the street who has actually ever seen these 2 movies. They will easily put Infinity War over this movie. That is a joke. You have one of the best actors on the planet in this movie, and you have Thor. You have Christian Bale playing Gore, who's one of Thor's coolest villains, and he sucks in this movie. He is a joke, and the fact that there is somewhere in a vault or a hard drive or something where you have Christian Bale doing a musical number as Gore, the God Butcher. Ridiculous. Taika Waititi should never touch an MCU product again. Yes, Thor Ragnarok was okay, but that is one of the most jerked off movies I've ever. Like Thor Ragnarok, I think it's good, but I don't think Taika is that guy. I like what he did with Star Wars, but I want him far away from the MCU because even the Russo brothers had to fix Thor a little bit for being this jokey guy to make him the Thor I know and love in Infinity War. So crazy. Yes, I know Hemsworth has some comedy chops. He does. You can use it sometimes. Just don't do it all the time. Yeah, but the entire Collider staff needs to be gone. Like, you have these people working for you and not people like us who actually know what we're talking about. Ridiculous. Let's keep going. That was a little rant there. Ryan's Volume 2, sure. I can see how it's a lot of people's least favorite of the MCU trilogy. I don't think 16 is a bad ranking for it. It's probably a little bit higher on my list than 16. Because I just really like I just love Kurt Russell and Chris Pratt's relationship in this movie. I like the continuance of the Gamora and Star-Lord relationship. I love how Rocket and Star-Lord are a little bit butting heads a lot and become more like brothers. I love Yondu in this movie. I think it's a good one. I really like this movie. And the soundtrack is arguably the best of all the Guardians movies, in my opinion. I love that soundtrack. Yeah, we can keep going. Let's see, Iron Man 3. I think this is towards the bottom of the MCU. I just don't think it's that good. It looks good. Visually has some cool action at times. But yeah, definitely not my favorite. I just don't love Iron Man 3. But I'm going to rewatch it. I haven't rewatched it in a long time. So maybe I'll like it more when I do my ranking. Lucy, when did you get in here? I don't know. All right, let's keep going. Thanks, Sci-Fi. I appreciate it. Ultron, I think, is very underrated. And I'm hoping my shit doesn't die on me, but we'll see. If it does, sorry we can't get through this whole list. Maybe I can run to get my charger real quick. Maybe I'll do that. I'll do that real quick and we can finish this list. I'll be right back, guys. Oh my goodness, Lucy, do not throw up in here. My goodness.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Go follow everybody, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all the same thing. Thank y'all.
Alright guys, I'm back. Hold on. My goodness gracious. Alright, we're charging. Alright. Yeah, did you hear that? Yeah, sorry you got some of that content. Shit, I'm gonna close this door now. Ain't that fun to get a little bit of some cat shenanigans. Okay, Age of Ultron. Back to it. It's definitely my least favorite of all the Avengers movies, but as I said earlier, I love that it's a movie where it's like the whole team of the Avengers with some new characters as well, and it's just like the chemistry is great in this movie. So, not my favorite of the Avengers, but I really do like it. Wakanda Forever. Again, I like Wakanda Forever, but I think I take a lot of these movies over it. Again, it sucks that Chadwick passed. I think he would have been amazing in this movie because I think it is. Ultimately, I think it's better than the first Black Panther movie in terms of story and acting. So it just sucks that we couldn't have Black Panther himself in it. And Namor's cool, but I think it's definitely too high on this list. That never happened in Marvel's promotional stream. You're right. What's up, David? Good to have you in here. Yeah, let's see. Let's keep going. Guardians Volume 3. I would say it's definitely a top 10 MCU movie, so this might be a little bit low. I really love Guardians 3. I think it's my favorite out of the trilogy, if I'm being honest, because I love... At this point, this is where the team is like a complete family, and you have a lot of new additions to the roster. I think all of them are at their best in this movie. The only person that gets a little bit of a downgrade for me is Gamora, but obviously because it's not our Gamora. I think the soundtrack's great. It's the best looking out of the three, in my opinion. This is also a current movie in the MCU that's saving the brand. So I love Guardians 3. I'd have it higher, but 12's not a bad rank for it. Spider-Man Homecoming. I really like Spider-Man Homecoming. At times, I think it's my least favorite out of the Tom Holland trilogy, though. I really love it because of Michael Keaton. And outside of that, I don't think it's the best, but it has some dope stuff of him growing as Spider-Man. And of course, I love him just truly being in high school in this movie. Like, you get that vibe of him being in high school, where the other two movies, he's barely kind of at his high school, you know? So that's what's fun about this. I'm going to a homecoming dance. I do love Homecoming. I'm a big fan, but 11's a good ranking for it, though. I don't know if I like it more than Far From Home or not, though. This seems a little criminal. I think Civil War being at 10 is kind of fucked. I think it's a top 5 MCU movie, no doubt. Yeah, we can go past this. That's kind of crazy, man. I don't know what you have over it, then. That kind of blows my mind. Okay, Ragnarok, disagree. Highly disagree. Again, Ragnarok's not... I don't think it's a bad movie. I do like Ragnarok. I just don't like. I know it's just starting to lead towards where we're gonna take Thor and Hulk in the future of the MCU, and I don't love that. It's like the foundation of it, where it's like some of the last times we see these characters at their prime form, where like they're both more badass and less jokey, but they've become more jokey now, which is sad to me. Ragnarok's fun. It's definitely a fun movie. It's just not my favorite. I love Tom Hiddleston in it, of course. I'll take anything with Loki. So there you go. No Way Home at 8. I'd have it higher. I'd have it higher, but eight's not bad for it. Eight's not bad. I'd probably have maybe the first or three of the Avengers movies ahead of it, and then maybe Civil War and Winter Soldier. That's maybe it. So it might just miss my top 5. So this is not a bad ranking for it. I might like it more than Civil War though, but I don't know yet. Okay, the Avengers at 7. That's kind of criminal to me. I think it's like the movie that makes the MCU what it is. It's the core team. All the costumes are fantastic. Everyone's like Hulk's best in this movie. I think Iron Man's even arguably the best in this movie. Cap is almost like top tier, but I think Winter Soldier is what makes him his best that he's ever been. So yeah, No Way Home is awesome sci-fi. I agree. It's easy. It's easily one of my favorites. But I love the first Avengers movie. I might like No Way Home more than it though. But I don't know. There's just something about like seeing this movie for the first time. If it was truly an event to go see this movie in theaters, and it's just classic. Just such a classic movie. The first Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, so I love the first Guardians of the Galaxy, but I truly think it's highly overrated. Like it's in a lot of people's top fives for the MCU, which I don't blame. And I agree. The Avengers movies could use its own list. I agree. But so Guardians, in terms of like a first movie to meet these characters, it's fantastic. It's a great origin. Uh, it has some awesome moments. Like I love seeing Peter's origin on Earth. Uh, excuse me, guys. I have some acid reflux today. But I don't know. It's just not. It's just not one of my favorites. It's definitely in the top echelon of the MCU. I love all the Guardians movies. I just don't think it's a top. I don't know if it's a top 10 for me even, but I do love it. I think it might just miss my top 10. But people do really love this movie, and I don't blame them. I think it's great. The chemistry is great between the cast. It's just not my ultimate. It's just not my favorite. But it's definitely a top, at least 12 for me. I know this list hurts me, Harris. Endgame at 4 or at 5. I'm trying to think what movies are being left out. I know one for sure. Okay, I know 2 that are on this list for sure. Wow. I'm actually very. No way. I don't think they've had Captain America: The First Avenger on this list yet. That's crazy. They have that over Endgame and the first Avengers. I love the first Captain America. Don't get me wrong, but is it a top 5 MCU movie? I don't think so. So I'm trying to think what's on this. But Endgame is awesome though. Like it should be. I think it should be in everyone's top 5 MCU movies. I think it's just not debatable. Like it's not the best like overall story and everything, but it's just the epicness in that final hour is just unmatched. Like this was truly the event movie to see. The first Black Panther, again, I think that's very high. Like I think at times the story is very good and the villain's awesome. I love Claw and I love Killmonger. Chadwick is awesome in this movie. I just don't like the CGI just really sucks in this movie. And I hate that they went from the practical suit to the CGI suit. Is fucking ridiculous. His suit in Civil War is masterful. But Chadwick does a great job in this movie. I just don't love. I don't know. There's something about it I just don't love. I think it's easily one of the most overrated MCU movies. I hate to say, but I do love it. I think it's a good movie. It's probably in my top. It's in my top 15. I would say probably. It's in a 5 to 10 range for you. Okay, that's fine. I mean, agree to disagree, guys. But I think it's really good. Don't get me wrong. And then when I rewatch it, I might have a different opinion. Especially I haven't seen it since Chadwick passed away, so I might have a little bit more of a connection to it because I love Chadwick Boseman. Love him so much. So we'll see. It's not my favorite. Captain America: The Winter Soldier at 3. To me, I think this is my favorite MCU movie. I think it has been since I've seen it, and that's almost 10 years old now, and it's still in at least my top 3. But I think I agree, Harris. I think it should be 1. I think it's easily the most well-crafted MCU movie there is in terms of acting, story, special effects. It's great. I love this movie. I love how they make Captain America into and they make him into. Excuse me. They put him in a movie where they make Captain America more like a James Bond-esque character. It's like putting Captain America into a James Bond movie, is what I should say, and that is awesome to me. I love this movie to death. It should be almost, no matter what, it should be in everyone's top three, in my opinion. But I think it's easily a one or two in the entire MCU, no doubt. Excuse me. Iron Man at 2. So again, I guess, do they really have Captain America, the first Avenger, at 1? Because I don't think I've seen it on this list. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we have not seen Captain America, the first Avenger. Because I haven't seen the website for me glitched. I was looking at it on my phone. So once it got to like Civil War, like all the rest of the list is fresh for me. I have no idea. Iron Man, just watch. It's amazing. I love this movie. I used to think it was in my top 5 MCU. After this rewatch, I don't think it is, but it's definitely a top 10, no matter what. Like, it's what starts everything. RDJ is in his purest form in this film. Like, he is perfect as Iron Man. And I just know that first time suiting up in the red and gold and then taking on that tank is some of the dopest shit there is. My only problem is I think the ending's a little rushed and forced. I think they could have done a little bit better with the villain situation. But Ironmonger's not the worst villain in the MCU by no means. But this movie's awesome. It's easily one of the best origin movies within the entire MCU. So what is number 1? I'm very curious about this. Mr. Harris. Number 1, please. Oh, I mean, I agree. Obadiah is a really cool character. But I think it'd be cool if, like, again, we get multiversal. Wow. Sorry, but I think we can get a multiversal Obadiah, and that's where we get Tom Cruise's Iron Man, but it's Obadiah Stane. I think that'd be sick. Wow, Captain America the First Avenger at 1. To be fair, I really respect that because I love this movie. I think it is in my top 10. I think every Captain America movie is in my top 10. Again, when I make my list, we'll see. But I just rewatched this movie. I think there's something about it. I love my period pieces. I love the World War II era in any movie. Captain America is easily one of my favorite characters of all time. I think Chris Evans does a great job in this movie as him. You get Fury at the end. Like the whole like him sinking and like getting frozen and then him coming to the future is sick. Has one of the best on-screen romances within a comic book movie. But wow, that's so shocking. But I mean, again, this whole list was shocking to begin with. But wow, I mean, I respect the 1. It's just the rest of the list I just can't even comprehend. Like, can't comprehend Love and Thunder being above Infinity War. I think that's absurd. But yeah, I love this movie. I remember when I love period pieces sci-fi, but I understand your hatred. But I mean, that's why I love like a movie like Wonder Woman. I love this movie. I love any war film, like Hacksaw Ridge, for example, is one of my favorites. Yeah, crazy list, guys. I truly can't comprehend what I just went through there, but we'll make my own, and I think we're all gonna enjoy my list quite a bit more than that because holy cow, Thor: Love and Thunder should be on like at least in the bottom 3 of everyone's list. It should never in a million years be above Infinity War. That's the biggest jaw dropper to me. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go eat. I'm gonna go eat, and I'm gonna go watch some good MCU because I'm about to watch The Incredible Hulk. Don't you love that? How like I'm gonna mention The Incredible Hulk as being good MCU because it is. Because Thor: Love and Thunder is not, and it should not be above Infinity War. But awesome. Thanks for coming by the stream, guys. I think it was a great one. Love talking to you guys, and I'm excited to make my list now because that makes me really want to. Right, guys. Have an awesome Monday. Hit that like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all every Monday for Comic Adaptations Weekly. Peace out, y'all.